Welcome to Cine Bijou, where we delve into the diverse creative world of independent film with your host, Ramon Wrights.
Hello everyone, so glad you tuned in. Every fortnight through feature explorations and insightfully fun interviews, we'll make Cine Bijou your destination for discovering hidden gems and supporting the voices of indie films that deserve to be heard. So grab your popcorn and settle into your seats as we shine a spotlight on emerging filmmakers, thought-provoking narratives, and groundbreaking techniques that redefine the art of storytelling. In this episode, we continue our delve into the collage of stories that have qualified to be considered for Oscar nomination. The journey for filmmakers is a tough one that sees their work battle it out at numerous film festivals, including prestigious events like the Cannes or even Hollyshorts Film Festival, all to be in the running to be Oscar nominated in the Best Live Action Short category. Hailing from the state of New Jersey, actor and filmmaker Blake Rice is hoping his comedy, T, already a hit at the Cannes Film Festival this year, will be in with a chance at vying for the much-coveted gold statue. T stars Michael Gandolfini and tells the story of shy introvert Nicholas, trying to find the courage to ask out the girl of his dreams. However, a potentially fatal incident thrusts him into the arms of his potential beloved. What follows is a tense yet sweet comedy of errors with great performances and an oh-so-unique Jersey feel. Blake and I sat down to talk about T and the challenges of bringing a romantic comedy to life.
Yeah, so from Jersey, super proud of New Jersey and kind of my upbringing there. I was really lucky, grew up in a great town called Morristown, New Jersey. And kind of the filmmaking journey started with my parents got me a little Handycam camera, much like the one in T, for my birthday, I think when I was like 15 or 16. And it started on the weekends, my buddy and I making prank videos and kicking each other in the crotch and laughing at it and making our own little films. And then it got to a point in school when I was offered from a teacher or two to do a video project instead of like the essay or test. And I never got that good at grades. So being able to jump on that kind of thing and be like, wait a minute, I can have fun and do something kind of cool that like gets me to X, Y, and Z in school. It was electric and I got addicted to it immediately. And kind of the train was off the rails at that point. I just loved doing it, fought for as much film work as I could really do class wise in high school. And then I knew what I wanted to study right away. And so I went from Morristown High School to a school in Pennsylvania called DeSales University for a year and a half. And then I transferred from there to Rowan. And then at Rowan, I made a sketch comedy show with digital comedic shorts, my buddy Ricky and Mike O'Brien. And we would post those on YouTube and we'd air them on Channel 4. And some went viral. And I got my first little commercial agents in New York. And after I graduated, I would commute up to New York City and do stand-up and PA and try to direct more sketches and stuff. And slowly but surely got some producing commercial work and then got more into doing short films and hid behind the camera a little bit more, directing 1 or 2 short films a year. And each one got a little less crappy each time. And eventually there I put out T. And T we finished up about a year ago. And I'd say half a year ago, I moved out here to LA. And once we got into Cannes, it kind of changed everything. And now we're looking at that first feature and riding the T wave. You know how it is.
Yeah, I certainly do. I have friends who are filmmakers, so and their story is much the same. I go to festivals where they start off with short films, and then next thing you know, they're being featured in sort of more feature films, if you like. So they're getting sort of more prominent roles or being offered some really good gigs. So yeah, I totally get that story. So you started off so you were a filmmaker. You're part of the hand cam generation. There's the original sort of 8mm generation. You're part of the hand cam generation.
We were like mini DVs. I was just before mini DVs we started.
Yeah, and the early days of YouTube, because you talked about some of your work that went viral. Yeah,
100%.
But you were also a performer in front of the camera. So what made you decide to concentrate your efforts as a writer and a director to move from in front to behind the camera?
Well, I don't know, I think Clooney, this is going to sound very directory, but I feel like Clooney said at one point that it's better to be the painter than the paintbrush. And I don't know,
Okay.
acting I love. It's so much fun, especially doing my friends' projects and being in there. And I think I can be funny and goofy and I do love it, but it never kept me up at night like directing. Being the storyteller and being able to show your work in front of an audience and to learn and to try to get better and to move an audience, that's what the kind of the thrill I'm seeking all the time, and just that kind of command. And I'm just addicted to the everything that goes into directing and the chase behind it, and I'm trying to just grow and get better. And it's always been the number one passion.
Hmm. So how does your acting then inform your work as a writer and a director, especially as a director when you are in charge of, well, directing the talent,
Mm-hmm.
if you like, to get the best performance out of them?
I mean, a big chunk of directing is knowing the headspace of your actor. Knowing where having the sensibility of how comfortable they're on set right now, where are they in their prep and in their process, what is their day feeling like right now, and what parts of their story are they leaning into and crafting on their own. Where do you step back? Where do you step in on that? And kind of just knowing their prep. I think I feel really lucky that I have some experience acting. It's not saying I'm the greatest actor of all time, but to have some experience, I think is a huge asset directing wise. I'm also not a very technical director. I can nerd out on composition and I love motivation for the camera and camera movement and gear. But technically, do I know how to turn on an Alexa? And no, no. Do I know how to back up footage? Like, do I know the specs? Do I know exactly what focal length you have to raise? No, there's a million great DPs that help get all this work to happen. But I love the acting background to kind of skew me into the kind of director that I like to be.
Hmm. So you're just talking there about the kind of director you like to be. There are some who like to be uh the boss. They like to call
Mm-hmm.
all the shots and say, this is my baby. But you seem to take you're very much about the collaborative effort. You do rely on the expertise of others, like the DPs, the more technical side.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. Not saying I'm not coming with opinions. And look, at a certain point, the boss, like you are the leader, you are like the quarterback on set in a way. You have to have that confidence, but there's also confidence in not knowing things. And that takes experience too. And it's like, do I know how to exactly style a barber from the 1940s? No, but do I feel like what might play in this world? And have I done my own research? Yes. So with department heads or people who are masters of those crafts, I always see myself as opinion too. When everyone comes in, whether it's DP or HMU, SFX, whatever it is, I'm coming with a lot of ammo. I just like
Mhm.
I take a lot of pride in bringing people around our projects that are those experts and are prepping that much where they know that stuff. And we have those great conversations of, the best decision wins, whether it's mine or theirs. Hopefully it's theirs.
So does your comedy inform your work as a director as well? And does it seep into your personality? Because you talk about you have to be confident, you have to sometimes take the
Mm-hmm.
lead. Does your comedic side, your as a comedian, sort of creep into that?
I wouldn't even know if I consider myself a comedian anymore, but I love comedy. Everything I write, it's tough for me not to weave in humor. I just feel like even when life's at its hardest, someone's trying not to laugh at the funeral. And so I'm always writing that. And I think comedy genre wise, that's always half, it's coming in half into the script. Just because right now, I think life has humor in it. Maybe I'm too much of an optimist, but, or I'm laughing at the wrong moments. But I think it adds a lot of sensibility there. I love a grounded script and I love stuff that hits every box. Like in T, you definitely see that we do get perilous at moments. There is real drama, there is real trauma in there, but there's definitely laughs. The kind of rabbit I like to chase right now is to being able to check all those boxes, and comedy plays a huge part in that.
Mhm.
Especially some spots that I'm grateful to have it somewhat of a comedic sensibility is in the edit too, because there's a lot lost from the day you shoot to handing over the footage to cleaning it up to getting it in the cut, and be able to have an editor you trust and also have that comedic sensibility to milk that timing correctly. I think is a huge asset in anyone's film.
Oh, absolutely. So talk about the kind of work that you do then. So with films like Steps and To Whom It May Concern, I mean, both the protagonists in those stories are on some kind of journey or some kind of
Hmm.
reconciliation. What kind of stories do you like to tell? Is it sort of putting characters front and center and having them face some key moment in their lives? What as a storyteller do you like to indulge in?
Oh, great question. Thanks for checking those out too.
That's
Um, I think a lot of that has to do with the short, with the form of being a short too. In a short, you have to set up a character that we care about and that's interesting and dynamic, but throw them into an inciting incident that's within a page and a half. You know, in Steps, she's back, she's in the pool, and she's facing her ex-husband with hiding a secret of trying to just use him to get over something. But to whom may concern, she's on this mission of who is posting these pictures of her and how does she get towards them and what does she have unresolved under the hood herself too. um, I like to throw those kickers into people. To me, I'm really interested in you know, characters that we think we know stuff and that we think are tropes that have so much more under the surface. um I'm really sensitive now to making imperfect people, which I feel like everyone's going after. But now, like, I don't know, I'm looking for characters that are a mess because I think it's admirable and juicy as a viewer to watch someone try to fix themselves. In T, he's putting on this brave face to try to better himself and conquer this loneliness that is we all suffer from in different ways. And I think that's admirable, and that helps you as a device get on this character's side. So I'm always looking for how do we get on these characters' sides in a fun way.
Well, as you've brought up T, and I can
Mm-hmm.
see what you're talking about there. Uh, this is quite an in T. Nicholas's situation is very
Mm-hmm.
nerve-wracking because we've all been there. We've all
We're all
met
allergic to
some.
bees. We're all allergic to bees, right?
I think we're also all allergic to bees, but I also think we've all been there. We meet someone and we think that we want, that they're the one or that we want to connect with them.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're introverted, that's even more of a challenge. And we try to pluck up the courage uh, to do that. And
Right on.
that really comes across in the film, this effort.
Thank you.
So what was the inspiration behind Tea then? Where did that story come from for you?
So I've always been looking for like I was kind of saying, like, what's a good how quickly can we set up an audience to think this thing is going one way, and what's an idea to make it slice in the other direction. um T, I was inspired by, I saw this brilliant actor do this monologue about asking out the girl of his dreams, then he gets bit by a bug. And it kind of tanks this whole effort he put forth. So I just thought it was a killer idea to place this character in a world that I know and I know we can achieve, in our budget, and I know we can really get good command of, and in a time period as well. And to put, it's like kind of like putting this character behind the mask of a handy cam and these rehearsals, and then watching him get stung on the bee in front of other people. It's like, let's put him within a minute into the lowest of lows possible and try to build up our character and world from there. I just thought it was a good setup to develop something interesting, an opportunity for us to say something cool.
I agree, and you certainly did. I think the irony is that here is a very shy, introverted character using the only medium he knows how, the camera, to try
Mm-hmm.
and find his voice. And
Mm-hmm.
he struggles, or to find the courage. And it's only when faced with this life or death situation does he suddenly think, I have a voice now, I want to
Yeah.
communicate,
Yeah.
but he can't because his throat is blocked.
Yeah.
And what I find interesting, and I want to ask you about, is um, you've got this situation where he finally gets to speak to the woman of his dreams. And it's a life-threatening situation, but you turn it quite sensitively, I think. Because I think anyone who's known someone who's died as a result of peace would probably think,
Mm-hmm.
but you've handled that quite sensitively and turned it into sort of a drama, but you lightened it with that sort of inadvertent game of charades
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
with the other workers throwing in things in the background. How did you come up with that premise? And to go back to what we were talking about before about what is uniquely Jersey, would you say that that's a very unique Jersey idiom, sort of?
Um, Well, first for the charades part, I just thought there was great irony there. It's kind of like what you were describing earlier. It's like the one when he finally needs to build up the courage and she finally is there and it is his moment he's been preparing for. He literally can't speak in his least approachable, and he looks the least approachable imaginable. So I just like the irony in there, and I like committing into that even more. And it's nice like to double click in on that irony in a comedy is, are you writing a comedy or a drama to be such a serious situation that you're so unserious comedically. And then for the charades, I just I don't know. I love suspending belief there for a minute and kind of clicking out comedically and making these two guess something while he's looking worse and worse. Um, I think the yelling and the brashness definitely feels Jersey energy to me. You're this weirdo jacking off in the woods. Like that to me is East Coast Jersey, say it straight to my face energy, not actually afraid of anything and trying to cut directly to the source, even if it's a messy delivery. That to me feels very Jersey, very East Coast. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So obviously you've got two great leads in there. You've got Michael Gandolfini. Now, anybody
Mm-hmm.
who's knows Jersey, knows film television will know that he's the son of the late James Gandolfini. I think he
Mm-hmm.
played a younger version of
Mm-hmm.
his soprano character. Sorry, I never watched The Sopranos. It's just one of those things I never got round to, but it's something
Put it
we
on the
all know
list.
about.
Add it to the
I
list.
should put it on the list along with Breaking Bad and a few other
Yeah.
things. But he is well known, and so what was the attraction for him to take this role?
I mean, we hit it off as friends first, which I think set it up as a great way to work on a project together. It's a quick shoot, and he's got an incredible sensibility for story and for character. And after we were hanging out, eventually we were just like, "Hey, I think I have this script. You might be great for it." He gave it a read, and he was all in, and I can't thank him enough. He was so selflessly committed to the role. He came to every audition. He was acting out on the ground, choking out and dying, full fearlessness, which is all you can ask as a director. And I can't speak more highly to working with him. And I'm excited to keep working on stuff in the future too. He's an incredible talent and a great friend.
Well, it sounds great. And now, obviously, in a role like this, chemistry is important, even where you have one character who is very confident, very take
Mm-hmm.
charge, and another one who is so lacking in confidence that they have to rehearse into a camera before they
Mm-hmm.
talk to a real person. Yet with Olivia Nickenen and Michael Gandolfini, you've got that chemistry. I mean, did they click when they first started working together, or was that something that was built up over time? I know you were up against it clockwise, but
Yeah, I think a combo of both. Olivia was recommended by some friends and producer friends, but also just auditioned. She auditioned and then she came in for a callback. And her and Michael had actually, when they were much younger, actually like just from I don't know happenstance, they happened to be in the same acting class when they were in their late teens, I think. So they knew of that. I think they like workshops and stuff together before. But once they were in the room, I just felt like they really had this easy rapport and professional rapport, and we're all in, and also we're just having a ton of fun. And that's kind of the key to it too, and kind of the environment that we like to create is like, yeah, the story, it says a bunch of different things, but behind the scenes, is it fun as hell to make? And because I believe that translates to the screen and translates to the stuff you want to work hard on. And we were having a blast, and Olivia brought everything to the role too. And her character, we did a bunch of prep on, and she dove all the way in and brought all this stuff that I didn't see as well. And again, I couldn't be more thankful for their chemistry they achieved together, but also as us three working on it too.
and that's got to make your work an absolute joy, hasn't it? When
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
rather than relying on you to direct and tell what you expect, that they bring something a bit more to the table. That's got to make it for a joyous experience on set.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. And like I was saying, I think it really translates. A lot about directing that they don't teach you in school is like how much are you leading a set, how much are you pushing the energy of a set, and how much are you establishing this motivation for everyone. If people are psyched about it and you can be able to foster that environment, they're going to work harder, they're going to care more, and all that goes into the screen.
Mm-hmm. So with a short film, obviously, that it can actually be more challenging to present a short film than it is to to do, say, a feature film? Because at least with a
Hmm.
feature film, you've got time, money, and also you've got more of a longer script to build
Yeah.
character and setting. So, but with
I would
this,
love some time. I would love some time on the screen. I got to make stuff happen like this, you know?
so how do you manage to sort of operate under the pressures of making a short film, and how do you keep what comes across as such a good atmosphere on set, especially with tea? How do you sort of balance all that with the time pressures of making a short film?
I think it's all you credit it all to experience. I have so much to grow and I have so much to learn, but I've also been making a bunch of these. And you hear all these like people get stressed on set, people get tight on set, people get, whatever, they get difficult to work with, but I don't believe in any of that. It's like we're here to have fun. We're here to play pretend with our friends and get a little bit better and make some fun movies together. And I've been doing this enough that we can kind of see exactly how to do that, what crew to surround ourselves with, what stories to take on, what actors to work with. And part of that is the people you surround yourself with. And if you can keep an eye out to getting to learning and keeping two ears and one mouth, you can take in the right information and then keep, kind of chipping away at making that right product.
And you've obviously achieved it. And I have to say, just from from a cinematography point of view, I think my favorite scene is definitely the charade scene, and I think
Oh yeah.
I like the ending as well. I won't say what it is in case other people see it, but I do
Hmm.
like the charade scene. But I noticed the way you filmed it was the sharp focus was very much on Tierney and Nicholas, so
Hmm.
Olivia and Michael. Uh, but everything else was kind of almost blurred in the background, even where the other sort of players were shouting
Hmm.
suggestions at.
Hmm.
I got to admit that was a lovely bit of cinematography. Was that your idea, or was that your cinematographer who said, "Hey, listen, I think we can do something here"? How
As
did
far
that
as
come
like
about?
keeping it tight here and then
Yeah.
cutting to wides of it,
Hmm.
we Mateus Bastos, incredible cinematographer, super lucky to have him on this one. We prepped the hell out of this because we only had really a day and a half to shoot, but we had a lot of days to be able to prep. We wanted it to be chaos, and being lost in Tierney's headspace was important. And so we want the viewer to feel like she is here, like trapped and overwhelmed. And to get that feeling of kind of hysteria and overwhelmness, we wanted to keep everything on her this tight because she's getting lost in this moment. She's forgetting about the guy in her feet. And that's why we keep it from close-ups and then to the wides, because that's how she would see the world and see kind of those hecklers. So we wanted to keep that, you keep that aggressive cut, that jump cut in between them. So we planned it out. I'd say I think I probably storyboarded that way, and then Mateus was like, "Well, this is how we do it." So definitely a collab there, but I appreciate that. I think it works too.
Yeah. And again, you deferred to your cinematographer
Mhm.
because they would know how to bring that concept
And the light, and they
and the
know how to,
light.
they know how to block that for the lights. It's mostly natural, all natural light for this thing.
Absolutely. So one other thing that is highly that stands out in the film, and I hope enough credit is given
Hmm.
to this artist that's featured in the film, and that's the gentleman who provided the film's music, Jordan
Hmm.
Chiola. Now, how am I pronouncing this? Chiola?
Kyle,
Chiola.
Kyle, yep.
Okay. Uh, his music is, as I describe in the review, so introspective and haunting. It's almost in contrast to this mix of drama and comedy that's going on. What was the thinking behind choosing Jordan's music uh, for the film?
Man, I'm so thanks for bringing him up because I'm so proud of the work that he did on this. Jordan Kyle is an incredible musician, and he has his own solo act called Kyola, but also he's the lead singer and the frontman of a band called Mo Loud and the Humble. And I heard one of his songs from his solo work just on Spotify as we were getting close to the edit on this, and I just felt like it resounded with this early 90s alt rock with an opportunity to cut through all the noise of this film and really push the viewer into the target of where we want to land emotionally. And because we suspend our disbelief in this thing, because it's very romanticized, I feel like we have the opportunity to tell the audience how we want you to feel, which is sometimes too much and too forward and too spoon fed in certain stuff, but it works in this. And then Jordan, he hadn't scored a film before, so we really worked at it from the beginning. And developing themes for each character, but then also like breaking it down to what instrumentals we want to feel here and how does it mix in with our sound design and our sound designer, Ben Chesno. One of my favorite things of working with Jordan is I gave him the script and gave him a rough cut. And I'm like, I think we can end this thing with real original soundtrack. And he goes, we need a theme. We have this opportunity for one sentence to tell the viewers that what is Michael's and Miss Nicholas character's mission. We need a theme. I think we can say that in these lyrics. And his first thing he wrote down is, I just needed to know someone knows I'm alive. And it cut right through. And that's that kind of landing point that I'm so grateful to have him on this one, because I think he really, a lot of the achievement of this project is owed to him and getting that point there at the end.
I was just going to ask, actually, did he write the music specifically for the film? Because the lyrics, I mean, you just uttered the first line, and I remember writing it down, thinking, I've got to find this song, because I wasn't sure if it was written for the film or whether
put it out.
Yeah, and I typed the lyrics and I couldn't find the song, unfortunately, but it's a very, very powerful opening line that really sums up the story, isn't it? I mean, and he obviously got it so quickly, and it works in this sort of touching tale. So let's look at your overall journey as a filmmaker, but especially in relation to this point, T, because T has, from a festival point of view, has garnered a lot of attention. It's put you in this position now where it could potentially be nominated for an Oscar. Everybody's on some kind of journey, especially when you're a creative talent like yourself. How has your journey as a filmmaker up to this point enabled you to grow as a person, but also as a creator?
I mean, what's gotten me to this point is also just paving the way myself. You got to find your way in through the basement in this business. And short films are a great outlet for that, because in a less amount of time, unless like in a less expensive manner, you can create something, then push it through these film festivals to try to break through into that feature world, which has always been the goal. I'm so grateful for T and actually every other short I've ever made, because it's all led to T, and T's now led to this moment of getting me way more exposure than I've ever had before, as well as my teams, and get me in the room to develop and create what will look like my first feature project soon. So it's changed everything for me. I credit everything to this process, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity these festivals have given me. And we got a lot more to come.
So T, as we mentioned, premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, and it was the only US short film to premiere there. Did I read that right?
That's right. It was the only one in English too.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Goodness.
Yeah.
So how did
for shorts in competition.
For shorts, yeah. That's what I figured. So how did it end up being premiered at Cannes then? What was the process to get it there?
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's not sexy. I just submitted it.
No. We're all about the business
night.
side, because go for it.
No, so most short films we submit to Film Freeway, which is like a platform, if you don't know, for short films.
Yes, we know about
basically
Film
like college applications. Like you upload your info and you submit. You can see which ones are listed, and you submit. Some of the biggest festivals, the more prestigious ones, have their own portal. So I didn't submit it to Cannes. I haven't submitted a bunch of my other projects just because I didn't think they were Cannes ready. So it must have been sometime almost a year ago, a little bit less than a year ago, I just submitted a one-off submission by myself to Cannes. I didn't have a sales agent or PR person or any reps on board to do it. And I just felt like I should go. And even when we got the news, I hadn't heard back from the festival yet. It broke on deadline. And I had to rush back to my email and be like, is this me? Was I the one who submitted? So I pulled the receipts and saw that I submitted. So no, I just Googled Cannes and submitted there. So film festivals are always a mystery, and there's always reasons you get in and stuff in your control and out of control. But I always say submit to everything. You never can learn. And it's good to just start getting in front of programmers and getting in front of festivals. Even if it's a no, they could be seeing you and thinking of you for the next project too.
And judging by your work, you're quite a festival pro, aren't you? Really? I mean,
you've
won some awards. You've won a couple of awards. You've been nominated enough times and considered. So there's quite a few sort of names to your list. But to premiere at Cannes, That must have been a great feeling. What was the
Mhm.
feedback that T got after it screened at Cannes?
Oh man, Cannes was the time of my life. It was like really my first professional kind of debut. And the feedback was excellent. I felt like we had a bunch of great laughs in the room. I felt like we made a great impression. A lot of business spun off of it for myself and the rest of my team. And I'm really proud that this is the project that I got to kind of step into these bigger rooms with. I feel like it's authentically me as writing it and directing it, the tone, the kind of genre shifts there. Like this was a good representation and kind of coming out for me professionally that I thought was really efficient and the timing was right and I was just ready for it.
And it paid off because since then it's been screened at Nashville Film Festival,
Mm-hmm.
Triana, Woodstock Film
Mm-hmm.
Festival, and of course we mentioned earlier Hollyshorts,
Mm-hmm.
which I think if people don't know by now should really know that it is possibly the biggest, if not one of the biggest short film festivals in the world, and it's been
Yep.
going for 20 years. Now, Hollyshorts is also one of those major Oscar qualifying events.
Mm-hmm.
When you realized that that was at stake, that you could possibly be nominated, or that the film could be nominated for an Oscar for Best Live Action Short, what was the pressure? Did you feel the pressure of that likelihood and that possibility? How did that make you feel when that realization hit?
I mean, honestly, it's so crazy that I'm just blown away that it's even the smallest, tiniest like chance. I honestly don't really feel pressure to qualify for the Oscars. I feel like or to get nominated. I just want to keep working, to be honest. The only times I feel nervous or anxious or pressure is when not enough stuff is happening. So
Mhm.
this makes me feel great that stuff's happening and we're doing PR and we're moving into other festivals. But then also I get a little anxious being like, okay, well, what if this doesn't hit? I got to work on the next thing and I got to work on the next thing too. I'm okay with not getting into stuff or not getting selected. I understand it's subjective at times. And the only things that get me, a little uncomfortable are when we're stagnant. And so I'm also thinking about the next project and I like moving on to the next thing. And I got two great films that I produced in post right now. I got another one I directed in post, and we're out in development on my first feature, which is so cool. And so I'm all about just moving forward. And if the Oscars
Mhm.
happen or if they don't, I'm psyched and I'm flattered either way. I already owe so much to T and the people who made it with me
Mhm.
that I'm just blown away and grateful to see how far it goes. And we got a lot of festivals coming up too.
So it's going to be quite a busy journey then between now and January, when they announce the nominations
It
for you
is.
and
It
for
is.
the film.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back to T then and your work on that. So looking back at the film, at the production, to sort of seeing it whole, um, is there anything in the film or any storyline or any aspect of the characters that you would like to explore either in another story or in another fashion? Is is the story complete or is there more to tell?
To me, the story is complete. I've gotten this question a couple of times, like, is there a T feature and is there more there? Uh, I don't know. I think I like the way it ends there, and to me, my next project is it is a local hometown story, kind of in a similar world, similar era. So I have something that's like kind of inspired, but not like T the feature. I like wrapping it up on this one. And look, if Hollywood comes knocking and they go, we're paying extra to the feature, I'm down, and I'll be doing another interview with you. But right now, I love it for what it is, honestly.
No, I agree. I think where you left it, and we'll let people decide for themselves when they see it or find out how it finishes. I think where you left it is absolutely fine. I do know from speaking to other filmmakers that some people feel that there's more to the story to tell, not necessarily in a feature, but other aspects that I think they would have liked to have explored, but
Hmm.
ultimately decided on this. And I just
Hmm.
wondered if there was any unfinished business or if there was any sort of aspects of the characters that you would have loved to have presented without ruining, without sort of affecting the story that you've got. that you've
That
presented?
like stuff like things I would fix in the movie.
Oh, well, maybe not fixed, but so maybe other elements that you would like to have added, other sort of how you would have liked the story to go
Um,
beyond that, say.
I originally had more characters in the back of the strip mall yelling out, but it got so goofy and crazy, and because of time, we just didn't shoot them as well, and unfortunately, we had to remove some of them. So that that I wish I could have gotten right. And there's also like some jokes in the charades that I would have liked more opportunity, more time for them to throw out other options. That would have been a blast. But honestly, I'm really happy with it. It
Hmm.
is, as a filmmaker too, it's kind of oddly frustrating. By the time you get the opportunity to talk about your work, it's 2 years old, a year old. Then you're like, well, I'm stronger by now. I'm thinking
Hmm.
other stuff by now. I've learned so much by now seeing it play. So you're always like looking back and playing Monday morning quarterback. But but no, I really am. This is it's my proudest project.
Hmm. So you talk about you've learned as you wrap on one film, you work on the next. You say you've learned a lot since then. So what have you learned from this production that either you didn't know before or you did, but you got a really good lesson from it?
I mean, I'm getting a lesson on really the film festival, on the film festival circuit, the film festival circuit for sure. So like sales agents, PR, um, programmers, how to move and operate, which festivals to go to, um, all of that. I've learned a ton from T's success, especially like internationally, and then seeing the development side because of T's success. And now I'm getting in the rooms with studios, with production companies, with features, with A-list actors, and all this, and really learning how to be in the room and operate at the next level has been one of the biggest opportunities, and like learning like things that I've been learning too.
Hmm. Okay. So you mentioned that obviously for you it's all about the momentum to keep
Mm-hmm.
working, and you've mentioned you've dropped hints that you've got a feature in the works. So
Slightly, slightly,
let's
yeah,
talk about the feature then.
yeah, yeah.
Because you've not only got this feature that is it called The Lot, I think it's
Empty
called
lot, the empty
Empty
lot,
Lot,
yeah.
but you've also set up your own production company. So let's talk
Mm-hmm.
about both this feature that you've got in mind and your production company. How did that all come about for you?
So the production company is I've had that for a while. It's what we've been using to make all of our short films through. As a filmmaker, I think it's just smart to set up your own shop, and even when you're developing your own things at all points, it's smart to be running your books through that, your money through that, and then also being able to kind of put that wall of defense up professionally. So you have sort of an entity business wise when you're going out and pitching these stuff, and when you're putting your name out there and your work out there, and it helps you branch out and kind of put the stamp of approval on other projects you want to touch. Um, for the empty lot, that's my baby, that's my script, and I'm lucky enough since Cannes and since T, I signed with a great group of reps from Kaplan Perone Management. And out of all the scripts I've written, they've kind of selected this newest project called The Empty Lot, which is this near and dear romantic dramedy from that kind of takes place in a similar area as T. That is a small world but big emotional problems. This really cool story that we're stepping out with to be my first feature, and I'm pumped to have good news on it soon to share with you.
Okay, well, I look forward to that. So we talked about earlier about stories and characters that are unique to Jersey. Uh, is that something that we can expect from The Empty Lot?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a little Pennsylvania and a little bit of Jersey in there, but definitely there's this harsh world, this kind of fighting against every day, and this just life is hard, and these are the people who deal with it that feels so universal and so organic to my upbringing in the world I know that I'm really pumped to kind of bring that to light. Some of my
Hmm.
favorite directors are David O. Russell and Darren Aronofsky, and with movies like Silver Linings Playbook or The Wrestler, it's like these nitty gritty people that have real world problems that are just fighting to make the day, but also still have every other notch of life in there, like love and happiness and death and
Hmm.
struggle. It's just fun to check all those boxes. And I want to be one of those next great American directors that are able to achieve that.
Oh, that sounds great. And there's definitely, because cinema audiences are definitely moving away from um, big, mindless blockbuster
Hmm.
films. I think especially with the advent of streaming post-COVID. So there's definitely a market for that kind of story. I'll tell you what it reminds me of is it reminds me of a scene from Tootsie. And it's between Dustin Hoffman and his agent, played by Sidney Pollack, who also directed, I think he also directed the film, and he's telling his character, Michael Dorsey, that
Hmm.
it's no good pushing his friend's play, Return to Love Canal. He said, because nobody wants to watch it because it's depressing because of where it's set. But
I
yet,
believe he's pouring scotch in that scene too, is
yes,
he
he
not?
is. But he talks about this is not what people want to see, but actually the very story that you described, that is the sort of thing that people would like to see, is going on that kind of journey and going through that kind of hardship to see how they come out the other side, if they do at all. So I
Hmm.
think it's going to be quite interesting. It's going to be look forward to seeing that. So where are you at with the film? You said you got some news coming up. I take it you've written the script and you're just trying to.
Script is written, and
Mhm.
we've gone through kind of the hurdles of going of my reps like giving me notes and getting it together, and we're super happy with the script now. And we're in the real development stages, so we're pumped to have news to share about what home it lands at, whether studio production company. And that's kind of the bedrock of any great film. And to be in the room and being talking about my script with some of my favorite filmmakers has been a crazy experience. And again, I've said I'm grateful 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 times more. Hopefully in a year or two, we're going to be talking about the same. You're going to be giving me notes and feedback and reviews on The Empty Lot too.
Well, I look forward to that. You mentioned filmmakers that influence you. So David O. Russell,
Mm-hmm.
Darren Aronoff, start again. Sorry, it's late.
No.
Darren Aronofsky.
Mm-hmm.
What other filmmakers can have and continue to influence you, and what is it about their films that really resonate with you and encourage you as a filmmaker?
Definitely both of them. They're at the top of the list.
Hmm.
I mean, Spielberg is probably one of my favorites of all time too. I think they just, especially for Silver Linings Playbook and David O. Russell's work and Darren Aronofsky's, it's just I just love the motivation behind the camera that they have. Not only are they able to do the ensemble work that I love, that I'm putting together in my stuff, multiple characters, big issues, all talking over each other. It just feels East Coasty. It feels like my world. And they also just motivate the camera so well. I love why they're looking this way at this moment. And then also the self-awareness, someone like Spielberg, to know when your movie is popcorny and when it's emotional and when it gets to mix all those and when it checks all the boxes and how that stuff's really going to play in a theater. I'm trying to start small, just like I used to with my shorts before I got better. I'm trying to start small with features and be intimate and personal and small world, big problems. But then eventually I'm coming for the big, I'm coming for butts, putting butts in seats,
Hmm.
and I want to do the wide releases, and I'm looking for the studio work too. So
Hmm.
slowly but surely I'm be chipping up there, and I want to be tested at that level too. You learn so much about being in front of an audience, and I'm just hoping to get an opportunity to do that as well.
Okay, sounds good. So, last question then. Now, obviously, your journey is, I mean, you've been making films for a while. You've studied, you've worked in commercials, you've worked in front and behind the camera, and you've yet to make your feature film. But
Right.
already you've learned so much, and as I've said, you're a festival pro with the lineup of nominations and entries you've got and successes as well. Um, what advice would you give somebody about succeeding in film, especially independent film, during what we are still encountering as challenging
Mm-hmm.
times? We've come out of COVID, people are still preferring to stream. Also, cinemas are closing, and what advice would you give to an up and coming filmmaker?
I just shoot more, shoot it whenever you can, and learn and write. If you want to write every day. And if you're too tired to write, if you got only one project going, it's not enough. Um, I I think it's so hard to learn, and the only way that I would learn in process is through failure. And you got to fail a ton, and I'm still failing a ton. I still get a ton of no's from festivals. I still get studios that don't want to work on the feature, and I still get actors that pass on scripts and all that. But that failure makes you sharper and makes you look inward and makes you really focus. Look at the tough part of your work and decide how to get better. And you got to look at it like a contact sport. So when you're a young filmmaker and it's easier to rent cameras, you can shoot something on an iPhone, shoot every day and go to festivals and network and network and network, meet people, go out there and try to collaborate. And if you keep putting your head down and working as hard as you can, eventually you turn around and you'll see the results you want on the backside.
It's interesting you mentioned networking and
Mm-hmm.
collaboration. That seems to be the hallmark of quite a few people I've spoken to, and I've asked the same question. And so many of them have said they network. One filmmaker says she networks like a ninja. It's what she's famous for. And so obviously, yeah, networking,
Gotta network.
collaboration, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for joining us on Cine Bijou, where we shine a spotlight on independent films and the creative minds behind them who continuously push the boundaries of storytelling. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like or follow button and subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can also find us on social media. Why not follow us on Threads, Instagram, YouTube and Facebook for all the latest news, insights and views from the world of independent film. We also love hearing from you, our listeners and followers, so why not drop us a comment or maybe even send us a message. Until next time, keep listening, keep supporting and help us keep the indie spirit alive.